Joining me now is Katie Barlow. She's a lawyer, journalist, and co-founder of the legal analysis website Circuit Breaker, which focuses on the courts. So, Katie, the Biden team right now naming an experienced longtime aide as chief of staff, Ron Klain. What signal is that sending, and what do you make of everything that is happening right now behind the scenes?
Well, I think, as William pointed out, it's significant that Ron Klain has deep experience and familiarity with both the executive branch, having worked in the White House counsel, and the legislative branch, having worked as counsel with then Senator Joe Biden. But what hasn't been talked about as much, and what I think is equally as important, is Ron Klain has a lot of experience with Article III, the courts in the United States, the third branch of government. He clerked on the U.S. Supreme Court for Justice Byron Wright, who, when he retired, handed his retirement letter to Ron Klain to deliver to then President Clinton, who then replaced Byron Wright with Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And Ron Klain was a part of facilitating that nomination process. He also was chief counsel of the Senate Judiciary Committee, which, as we just saw with Justice Barrett's confirmation, oversees the legislative branch's role in advising and providing consent to the president's nominee. So this is a chief of staff that has deep experience and familiarity with judges and with the Supreme Court, perhaps more than any chief of staff to come before him.
And we know that Joe Biden has a team of lawyers. They were gearing up months before this election. We had talked about that before. So at what point do you think that team makes a move on the legal front based on what they're seeing from the Trump campaign right now contesting the results? Or are they looking at this and saying there's not really any need for us to step in?
Well, right now, there's not really any need for them to step in. The cases are taking care of themselves in what we've seen so far. And the primary reason for that is Trump's campaign and his allies, when they walk into court, are making plenty of allegations about voter fraud, missing votes, votes that aren't counted correctly. But the problem is they aren't able to show evidence of these allegations. And to succeed in walking into any court in the United States, you have to be able to have evidence of a violation of law, and you have to have lawyers that will actually be willing to walk into court and back that up on the filings and sign their name to it. And we actually saw earlier today that one of the law firms, Snell and Wilmer, that has been a huge proponent of the Trump campaign and has worked on a number of these legal challenges, actually withdrew from the litigation in swing state Arizona. They were challenging how the votes were counted there, and they withdrew from that representation, which I think is a strong signal that the Trump campaign has a weak case.
Do you think we could see more of that, more law firms in these various states declining to take the case to court moving forward? And how much longer do we have before the president's options, his legal options, run out? I mean, there are deadlines coming up. There are state certifications. How much longer does he have?
Well, we have until December 14th, which is when the Electoral College in the United States has to vote on who the next president will be. So I suspect that we'll continue to see this litigation go up until December 14th. It's also potentially, it's possible that the Trump campaign will pursue litigation after December 14th. But as we're seeing from reporting now, a lot of this is Trump trying to make some hay on his way out the door to help transition into what comes next for him, whether it be in the media or some other version of being in the public eye. I think this is good fodder as he makes his transition out the door.
And Katie, speaking of transition, what are some of the things that you will be watching for in the days or weeks ahead? What do you think will stand out or could serve as a bellwether for this campaign coming to an end?
Well, I think we should start actually looking at what's coming next. The Biden team has already released who is on their transition team, key players that will help them transition into the White House. A lot of those team members tend to join the administration once the administration gets going. Look at who the key advisors are that he will appoint, including folks like Ron Klain, and look at where their specialty areas are. Like I said in the beginning, Ron Klain has a deep experience with the Supreme Court, and after the hotly contested battle over filling Justice Ginsburg's seat with Justice Barrett, I would look to what the Biden administration is saying about how they're going to handle the Supreme Court. There was a lot of talk for a while about packing the court, about changing the jurisdiction of the court, and changes that will happen there. So I would keep an eye on what folks are talking about and those key people that he appoints to his transition team, what they're saying about it.